Yeah, and it seems in today's ever-changing world, as I mentioned before, feels like every day we have more demands. We have more things to learn, more things to integrate. And what is a healthy way to in which we can integrate all these things?
I think that's your specialization, huh, Phoebe?
How we're integrating these things. I think the most important thing is to preserve the sanctity of human life. Um, that's what's central as technology advances. And it's easy to say that because AI, for example, can process faster than the brain or than a human can, um, there's more value in that. But we can't forget the human brain itself has 86 or more billion neurons. It has over 100 trillion connections. You know, we don't even have AI models that can analyze the amount of connections that the brains have. And so, again, that's part of the sanctity of humanity. We can't lose touch of the uniqueness of a human. Even though we may not have the speed of processing that information, the technology cannot replace that uniqueness of the human brain, for example, and how we're adaptive and how we're relational and how we create meanings based on those connections. And so when we look at how do we then interact with technology, technology then can be directed by humans uh, and give meaning to the outputs that we get from the technology, and then how we maybe combine that together to be able to create a better world.
Mm-hmm. It's a complex topic, huh? With many moving parts in it. The sanctity of humanity as a central point is something to deeply reconsider, I think, because when we put so much emphasis on AI, as you both talk about, that is becoming mainstream. Huh? People just adapt that belief that it then is better or something. And in the meantime, they forget that AI, artificial intelligence, is created to reenact a capacity that we as humans have, but to maybe enhance that specific capacity, do it faster, maybe better. But what is better? Huh? We as humans decide. We have to go back to our sanctity to deeply feel, experience, understand what actually is good, what could be better in relation to that. So when we emphasize that AI, for example, should be the way to go, we forget that it's actually created to help us advance certain aspects of our own whole being. And that is what Phoebe just mentioned before. We have to learn to reconnect again with that wholeness, which is in the billions of complexity processes that artificial intelligence cannot completely reenact now. So we have to reverse that mainstream understanding again, like why do we create technology in the first place? It's to help us. It's to make some things easier for us so we can put more energy, attention to things that are hard. And what is hard is to feel sometimes compassion when things are rough going. So these are just some thoughts that might clarify where we are in how to re-understand these kind of relations that we are in. Where do we want to advance into? What is the new human? I truly believe that the mission of NHRDI is to help people advance that understanding that the new human is a more whole, integrated, compassionate being that puts the sanctity of our wholeness first in relation to where technology could then help assist us in doing good, doing better, and move humanity forward in a compassionate way instead of a warlike way. So,
And
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was just going to add to what you were saying. We want to be careful that we're not measuring human worth according to their ability to process information or the speed that they can compute, because there's more to a human being. As you were saying, the wholeness of a human being is the creativity. It is the relational aspect. It's the adaptive nature. It's our consciousness and wisdom, all of that rolled into one, not just our ability to compute and make decisions on a logic only basis. So yeah, we want to be careful of making sure that we're not measuring human worth by machine standards.
but instead do the opposite, measuring computational worth to what is deeply human worth. Yeah. Totally subscribe to that. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, we don't want to be dominated by all this technology, but as you mentioned before, we want to use it as a tool. So before we move on to the next section, I would like to give a summary of what we have just discussed about the definition of the new human. And please correct me if you don't agree with my own recap. But for me, the new human seems to be like the person who has activated this deepest unknown potential and who also has a healthy relationship with technology instead of being dominated by it.
Exactly. And what NHRDI is also advancing in that respect is that's why we are research driven. There are very beautiful investigations and what is that dormant potential within us that we can activate to enhance our typical sanctity. Our you could say our holy capabilities, what makes us whole, the capability of seeing all these relationships and connections in coherence. And I think Phoebe can chime in on that, especially because she is a scientist herself who is advancing certain tools to help stimulate awakening these capabilities within us.
I mean, measuring them for sure. I would say, to recap, the new human honors the sanctity of humanity while responsibly stewarding the advanced technology.